In 1986, I was in a triathlon in Palm Springs, California, and I was on my bicycle, and I was making a turn to pass some cyclists. And as I made the turn to pass the cyclists, I got run over by a truck, and I broke 6 vertebrae in my spine, and I had bone fragments on my spinal cord. And the doctors, 4 experts, told me I would never walk again and I would be paralyzed. For some people to wake up, they need a wake-up call, and that was my call. I decided against the surgery, a radical surgery where they take out the entire back part of my spine and screw in these rods. I decided against the surgery in 1986, and I thought, I'm not going anywhere, I'm not doing anything. Let's see if I can heal this with my mind. Now, nobody had any idea that it was even possible. The doctors thought I hit my head on the ground and that I had a head injury because nobody said no to them. But you know, when you're trying to create something like a miracle, you will always be considered a fool or insane because nobody else is doing what you're doing. It's unconventional. It's outside the beliefs of a culture. But if you pull it off, you'll be considered a saint, a holy man, a genius, a mystic. And so I was willing to lose everything for a thought or an experience. And I went through a very dark night of the soul because I wanted to heal myself, and I was impatient, I was angry, I was frustrated, I was unfocused, and I couldn't get my mind to do what I wanted it to do, which made me more angry. But every day I had this thought in my head: the power that made the body heals the body. I kept hearing it in my head. The power that made the body heals the body. And so I thought maybe I could take my attention off of everybody and everything and go within. And let me connect to this power, this intelligence, and begin to give it a plan, a template, a design. And for 6 weeks, I would start doing it every morning. And then I'd think about living in a wheelchair. And then I'd start all over again, and then I'd think, should I sell my house? Should I sell my practice? And I realized I was focusing on what I didn't want to happen instead of what I did want to happen. And that's what the hormones of stress do. They cause us to pick the worst thing in our future and emotionally embrace it and be prepared for it. Because anything less, there's a better chance of survival. And so for 6 weeks, I went through hell because I would start reconstructing my spine and I would lose my attention. But I never gave up. 3 hours every day, going within. And at the end of 6 weeks, I was able to go through my entire internal process without losing focus. Because I reasoned that this intelligence, this consciousness had awareness. And awareness is paying attention. So it was paying attention to my thoughts. So just like you know when someone's paying attention to you, they're present with you. And so I had to reconstruct my spine, but when I lost my attention, I would have to stop and start all over again because it wasn't a clear design. And at the end of 6 weeks, I was able to go through the whole thing. And all of a sudden, my body started to change very quickly. My pain went away, my numbness changed, I started to get happy, and all of a sudden I started to notice that I was feeling better. And the moment I began to feel better, I was thinking about what I was doing. I did it with more passion and more conviction, more joy. In 10 weeks, I was back on my feet, and at 12 weeks, I was training again. And they came to put me in a body cast from my chin to my waist, and I put the cast on for 5 minutes, and I tossed it. And I just made a deal with myself in those lonely nights where I couldn't sleep. I talked to this intelligence every day, and I said to it, I'll make you a deal. If I'm ever able to walk again, I will spend the rest of my life studying the mind-body connection and studying mind over matter. And since 1986, that's what I've been doing. I started studying people with spontaneous remissions and what it took to get healed. I went back to school and got another degree. Then I started teaching people how to do it. In the beginning, we didn't see much change. And now, 10 years later, we are measuring people doing the uncommon. We are measuring people doing the miraculous. of healing themselves of diseases, of creating better lives for themselves. Common people like you are doing the uncommon. And you don't have to be a Buddhist monk. You don't have to be a nun with 40 years of devotion. You don't have to be an academic. You don't have to be a scholar. It's time that common people are privileged enough to do the uncommon. And we've measured people and made scientific history in the last 3 years that you will never see in any neuroscience journal. And they were just people just like you. And now when people ask me, is change possible? I have no doubt in my mind. In my last book, I said, hey, how can you give somebody a sugar pill or a salt injection? And a certain percentage of those people will accept, believe, and surrender to the thought that they're getting the real substance. And without any analysis, they begin to program their autonomic nervous system to make their own pharmacy of chemicals that matches the exact same chemical they think they're taking. Is it the inert substance that's doing the healing? Or is it the body's innate ability to heal? The question is, do you need something outside of you to change you? Or if you understand how the placebo works, can you teach people to do it? But instead of putting their belief in something outside of them, put their belief in something inside of them, or a possibility, an unknown, and have them revisit that unknown until they make it known. If 81% of the people who are at a depression study are healed by a placebo, 81% are healed by a placebo, it means they're making their own pharmacy of antidepressants. And they don't need anything to do it. And so it's time people take their power back. It's time that we wake up. And my passion is about transformation, but not with elite individuals, with common people. And if you keep understanding that you need a flu shot because there's bugs with your name out there that are looking for you, and if you don't get the flu shot, you're going to get sick, that's the nocebo. Then when you don't get it, you'll get sick, and then you'll need a pharmaceutical. That's programming. But when people break out of that illusion and they begin to take their power back, they're no longer controllable. And now, you're talking about a race of individuals now that are believing in themselves more than anything else. And that's where we're going as a community in this world.